So I recently received some feedback from a client, a new client who just engaged with one of our advisors. And she mentioned to me that she was so impressed with the initial conversation she had been having and wanted to share that feedback with me. I asked her to be specific, and I want to share a little bit about the conversation with you because it surprised me and not for the reasons you may think. So she shared with me that the initial conversation that she had with someone on our team was so clear and concise, and the minute she was referred in, she received a email from our concierge specialist. Internally we call that person either the chief of staff or the administrative assistant, but concierge specialist, who basically outlined the purpose of the initial meeting and conversation, what she can expect, and how to be prepared. And the gist of the email was basically, look, we want to get to know you. We're going to ask you maybe some personal questions, but this is just an opportunity for us to learn more about you, learn more about what you're looking for. So don't feel like you need to over prepare. And she explained how that made her feel really comfortable going into the meeting, and the set the stage for what that initial conversation with the advisor would be like. After that conversation, which she described as comfortable, anxiety and stress free, and she articulated feeling a sense of relief because she had a place where she can, for the first time in a really long time, talk through what's been on her mind as it relates to her own financial plan, the things that she's worried about, what she's experienced personally and professionally over the last year. In other words, the way the advisor held the meeting was entirely focused on her. Uh, there wasn't a whole lot of discussion about, investment philosophy and our thoughts about, GameStop. It was a lot of conversations about her experience with financial services, her life, what she wants, etc. The last thing she said, and again, she's talking me through what impressed me about her engagement with this advisor, the initial engagement. The last thing she said was, after the meeting, she received a really detailed timeline from our office about potentially what the next 30, 60, 90, and then days, and then 1 year would look like if she engaged with us. So up front, we gave her information about what the next meeting would entail, that discovery meeting, what she would need to come prepared with, and then what it would actually look and feel like if she decided to engage with us and move forward, and what would be required of her. And the one thing she mentioned is that as a busy professional female, her time is really valuable, and having that sense of what's to come and how much time she'd have to commit to engaging with us made her feel really good. So this, first of all, I was pleasantly surprised and really proud of our team, but I was also surprised at how simple and obvious some of the things she mentioned were. And that indicated to me two things that I wanted to share with you folks today. The first thing is that the way you wow prospects is first and foremost by making sure that you have the fundamentals and table stakes down pat. In other words, if you are not setting expectations properly, if you're not leveraging all of your emotional intelligence and active listening skills early on, if you are not down pat with your team about who communicates and when and at what time before somebody engages with you, if you're not doing any of that, then chances are you are going to lose out to advisors who can do just the basics. That's the first thing. The second thing I learned is how important it is to understand the connection between what you're articulating your value proposition to be to prospects and to the consumer, and how that actually manifests in an engagement. In other words, if your value proposition on your computer or your marketing, on your website, rather, your marketing material indicates to the prospect that you listen intently, the client is always first, you are objective and holistic in the way you think about their plan, and they come into the first meeting and you're doing 67% of the talking, and they're leaving there with illustrations and outline for what their investment portfolio could look like, that is directly the antithesis of what you're saying your value proposition is. So here's a couple of tips, and again, really simple stuff that I would advise you to talk about with your team and set as standard for how you engage and nurture prospects. So remember, this is even before somebody officially becomes a client. Here's my list for you. How to wow prospects. Number one, template every single thing, every single communication that you send to a prospective client early on. Make sure that it's templated, meaning the initial email that the person who refers you, the prospect, gets, the email or communication, maybe it's a voice note or video, maybe it's just an email that the prospective client gets before they come in, the email that they get following up, that timeline or graphic that you create that outlines the engagement for them. Template all of that so that it's really easy to disseminate that to every new prospect that comes in. The second thing is create workflows. I talk a lot about this on my videos. There's a big difference between manual tasks and actually setting off workflows. So one of your workflows may be nurturing prospects. Imagine that being a workflow. Embedded in that workflow is that initial meeting they get before the first meeting. It's the agenda maybe that you automatically send to them before they walk in. It's the follow-up email. It's the small gift or handwritten note that you are reminded to send out after that initial conversation or meeting. So create workflows in your CRM and feel comfortable using them every single time there's an opportunity to trigger that workflow. The third thing is make a list of what you want the client, prospect rather, to feel when they work with your team or when they first meet your team. And do an exercise at your next team offsite or monthly marketing meeting, identifying exactly how you make that happen. Remember, I just spoke about value proposition and then actually manifesting that in your actions and behaviors. So what do you want clients to feel? Comfortable, relaxed, at ease, not anxious, able to open up to you. And then identify the ways in which maybe you do or don't actually help them do that. That should provide the framework for what that initial meeting should look like. And that initial meeting should look like you asking a lot of open-ended coaching questions to the prospect. Fourth, make the person, the prospect, feel comfortable no matter how the meeting ends. In other words, if it doesn't end with them feeling like, oh my gosh, I want to move forward, doesn't matter what services you offer, I want them, it doesn't take a lot of time to send a handwritten note, maybe send a little gift with your logo on it, but basically thanking them for being vulnerable enough to come to you and meet you and talk to you about their lives. And then finally, my fifth tip is to enter that person into whatever automated marketing email or communication you send out. Even if somebody is not ready to engage now, if you routinely serve those types of clients and put out messages that are related to those clients, so let's assume it's the millennial female entrepreneur client, if you routinely send out content and messages that relate to that client, eventually somewhere down the line, if they don't want to engage right away, they're going to be reminded of the great work that you do in helping people exactly like them. So template everything, workflows, actually write out how you manifest value proposition in that first meeting, and then include them in your marketing communications and make sure you thank them no matter how the meeting ends. Okay, folks, I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if there's anything you are doing that wows prospects consistently. I'd love to know. Otherwise, I'll see you next week, same place, same time. Take care.